WONKY, a Robotics Club Story by Darcy Pattison, illustrated by Nathaniel Gold. The Robotics Club began on the first day of school, right after the last bell. Howie plodded in and looked around nervously. He knew everything about robots, from BEN to 7 Zark 7. Would these kids know anything about robots? Would he find a friend here? "Time to choose partners," called the teacher. Jim chose Nathan. Amy chose Araceli. Pimley chose Nadine. No one chose Howie. He wanted to hide in his shell in despair. Instead, he raised his head higher and said to himself, "No big deal. Just what I wanted anyway. This way no one will ruin my robot design." Suddenly the classroom door banged open. In bounded an ostrich. What did I miss? He was skinny on the top and bottom, but his middle was so fluffy. Howie hid from the bouncy bird, but the teacher said, "Howie, you can be partners with Lincoln." "Where are you from?" Howie asked softly. "I've never seen any birds like you around here," Lincoln boomed. "East Africa." "Oh," said Howie. "Why did you move here?" "My father moved here for business," Lincoln said. "He programs robots." "Oh," Howie said. "Do you know anything about robots?" "My father taught me everything about robots. From audio receptors to zero-gravity chips. I'm, what's the word? Brawny." "I think you mean brainy," Howie said. "I just say I'm smart." "Smart, good word. I'm still learning English," Lincoln said. "Thanks for helping." Howie smiled in surprise. The teacher said, "Let's get started. Today, you'll plan your robot. How will it look, and what will it do?" Howie drew a robot. "Too boring," Lincoln said. Howie said, "But every robot needs a head, a body, legs to move around, and arms or wings. They look like us." "No," Lincoln said. "They don't have to look like us." Lincoln drew and drew. Howie shook his head. "That's wonky." But it made him think. Howie drew and drew. "That's wonky?" asked Lincoln. Lincoln drew and drew. "That's wonky," Howie said. Howie drew and drew. "That's wonky?" asked Lincoln. Howie stared upward. "We're getting nowhere. So what do we want this robot to do?" Lincoln said. "I want a robot to keep my sister out of my room." "Me too." Together they drew one last design. The teacher called, "Time to show your designs." When it was their turn, Howie held up the drawing. The teacher looked at the drawing and frowned. He pulled his chin. He scratched his head. Finally he asked, "Are you sure you can make it work? It looks a little bit wonky." "Yes," said Howie and Lincoln together. "Wonky it is," said the teacher. He turned to look at other drawings. "Can I ask a question?" Lincoln asked. "What does wonky mean? Have I been saying it right?" What could Howie say? Wonky meant something was odd, but he didn't want to tell Lincoln that. The new kid was too skinny and too fluffy at the same time, but he had interesting ideas. He did know everything about robots, from audio receptors to zero-gravity chips, and Howie did want to make a friend on the first day of school. Finally, Howie said, "Wonky means odd but wonderful." Lincoln bent low to ask softly, "Can wonky also mean friend?" "Yes," Howie said happily. "We're wonky friends." This has been Wonky, a Robotics Club Story by Darcy Pattison, illustrated by Nathaniel Gold, narrated by Josiah John Bildner. Copyright 2019 by Darcy Pattison. Production copyright 2019 by Darcy Pattison.